I've analyzed over 10,000 Ecom stores, and here's what I found. The ones making $10,000 plus per month aren't chasing the latest TikTok hack or copying what some guru posted yesterday. They've mastered 4 fundamentals that 95% of beginners completely ignore. And today, I'm breaking down exactly what those fundamentals are. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Matthew Lepre, and I've helped thousands of students build a second income with Ecom. So let's start with a mistake that every beginner makes. They think they're selling products, but they're not. Think about Nike versus the generic shoe brand at Kmart. Both are often manufactured in similar factories, similar materials, comparable quality in most cases, but here Nike charges $180 and the generic company charges $40. They both have the same function, which is protect your feet and get you from A to B. Yet Nike absolutely dominates the market while these generic brands struggle. So what's the difference? It's not the product, it's what the product represents. Nike doesn't just sell shoes, they sell just do it. They sell the feeling of athletic achievement, the sense of belonging to a tribe of winners, athletes, people who push limits. They sell identity. When I wear Nike, I'm telling the world I'm a performer. The swoosh logo equals instant recognition of what you stand for. You're not buying rubber and fabric, you're buying into a belief system. That's the power of branding. Now apply this to your store. Look at it right now with fresh eyes. What are you actually telling people when they land on your site? Are you just another AliExpress reseller with a .com domain? Or are you a brand with a personality, a mission, an emotional connection? Most stores have zero identity. They could be anyone's store. No story, no mission, no reason for people to care. And that's why nobody buys. People don't make buying decisions with logic, they make them with emotion, then they justify it with logic afterward. Nike taps into aspiration, achievement, confidence, and belonging. Your store needs to tap into something emotional. What transformation are you promising? What feeling do customers get when they buy from you? What part of their identity are you helping them express? Here's the brutal truth about dropshipping. Your products can be copied in 24 hours. Competitors can find your supplier, order the same product, and undercut your price. If you're competing on product alone, you have zero defensibility. But if you're competing on brand, you're untouchable. Nobody can copy your story, your mission, your emotional connection. That's why branded stores can charge significantly more than generic competitors. And customers gladly pay it because they're not buying the product, they're buying an identity. Before you find another product, define your brand identity. Fill in this sentence. I help specific audience achieve specific outcome so they can emotionally benefit. So here's an example. I help new mums feel strong and confident again so they can reclaim their identity beyond motherhood. Or another example, I help remote workers create productive home offices so they can feel professional and focused. This becomes the foundation that everything else is built on. Every product you sell, every ad you run, every email you send. Filter it through this identity. All right, so now you've defined your brand identity, you know who you serve and what you stand for. But here's where most people completely screw it up. They build this beautiful brand identity and destroy it by making this next mistake. Let me show you exactly what I mean. But first, if you want access to a free course where I show you exactly how to start and grow your own e-com store, then click the link in the video description below. A few years ago, the team at Lucid Press studied over 200 organizations across several years. They tracked data from 2016 through 2019 to see exactly how much impact the branding has on the way we buy. Back in 2016, the data showed that simply keeping a brand consistent, so using the same colors, voice, and quality across every channel, led to an increase in 23% in revenue on average. But when they ran the study again in 2019, that revenue lift spiked to 33%. So that's an extra 33% in sales just by having a cohesive brand. And you can see this play out perfectly in the real world with a company like Apple, for example. Whether you're walking into a glass-walled Apple store, scrolling the website, or unboxing a new iPhone, the experience is identical. It's always minimalist, premium, and sleek. Because Apple never breaks character, you never have to guess about the quality of the product that you're getting. And that absolute consistency is what allows them to charge a premium price and maintain a level of trust that most companies would love to have. Every premium brand you admire uses what's called a brand Bible, a master document that ensures they look and sound exactly the same to every customer every single time. To build your own, start by locking down your visual identity. Choose 2 or 3 colors max and find the exact hex color codes. Don't just say blue, use the specific code so your color is identical on every single screen. Next, pick 2 fonts, one for your headlines and one for your body text. Name them specifically and then use them for every graphic, email, and presentation that you ever create. Then define your brand's voice in one single sentence. Decide if you are the health store for vegans or the high quality luxury bath product store. If a caption or an email doesn't sound exactly like that persona, then it doesn't get published. Finally, take these elements and put them into a Google Doc or a pinned note on your phone, and this is your brand Bible. You want to share this with anyone helping you and check every single piece of content against it before it gets posted. All right, so now you've got your brand identity locked. You're being obsessively consistent everywhere. People recognize you, trust you, remember you. Now, here's the next critical piece that most store owners completely ignore. What happens when someone actually clicks on your ad? Because you could have the best brand in the world, but if you make this next mistake, you're gonna still end up broke. Let me show you exactly what I mean. I used to be obsessed with Facebook ads, like genuinely addicted to the ads manager. I'd spend hours every day tweaking audiences, testing new creatives, optimizing the bids. I knew everything about getting clicks. My CPM was low, my click-through rate was high. I was crushing the front end of this funnel, but I was still broke. I couldn't figure out why, and here's what was happening. I was sending thousands of dollars in traffic to a website I'd barely tested. I built it in a weekend, thought, it looks good enough, and moved on. I never actually went through the customer experience myself. I never even tested it on a mobile. I just assumed if people clicked, they'd buy, and that was a massive mistake. One day I decided to actually try buying something from my store. The homepage took 8 seconds to load, and that felt like an eternity. I'm sitting there staring at this blank white screen thinking, is this thing broken? So it finally loads, but the images are pixelated, the text is overlapping, the whole mobile layout is broken. I go and I try to click add to cart, and it takes me to a cart page and then asks for logins. I don't have an account, so I had to create one. Email, password, confirm the password, full name, billing address, shipping address, and then I can finally pay. When I counted it, it took 15 clicks from add to cart to purchase complete. That whole process took 4 minutes and felt like a chore. So I asked myself, would I buy from this store? And I think you know the answer. Literally, it was a hell no. If I landed here from an ad, I would bounce in seconds. So it's interesting, why was I expecting strangers to trust me with their money? Once I realized that my store was a mess, I went and stopped the ads and followed a simple 4-phase fix to turn my website into a conversion machine. Phase 1 is the pre-purchase polish. So I used Google PageSpeed Insights to get my mobile load time under 2 seconds. I compressed every image and made sure the text was large enough to read on a phone without someone having to zoom in. Phase 2 is about product clarity. I replaced the pixelated images with 5 ultra high quality angles per product and swapped the long walls of text for just simple scannable bullet points. Phase 3 is the frictionless checkout. And this one was the biggest change. I enabled guest checkout so nobody is forced to create an account. I cut the process down from 15 clicks to just a few, added one-tap payment options like Apple Pay, and made sure that the shipping costs were shown upfront so there were no surprise fees at the end. And the final phase is post-purchase momentum to turn a buyer into a fan. I set up an automated sequence that sends a confirmation email immediately, followed by proactive tracking updates. A few days after delivery, the system automatically checks in to ask how they like the product, and this builds a relationship instead of just making a sale. Once I fixed those friction points, my conversion rate literally doubled, and I'm not the only one who's seen this transformation. Jordan was one of our students. He was stuck in a $50,000 a year job he hated. He tested 8 different products before finding one that worked. But here's the key. Once he got his customer experience dialed in, everything changed. He scaled to over $150,000 per month and has now crossed $1 million in total revenue. But even with a perfect customer journey, there's one more thing that will destroy your sales. If you've ever had people clicking onto your store but not buying anything, then this next fundamental might be the reason why. Imagine you're buying a used car. You find 2 sellers on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Same car, similar price. Seller A is a sketchy one, and they just post 2 photos, one from the front and a blurry interior shot. The description says, good car, runs fine, cash only. No inspection report, no service history, and when you ask about the title, they're a bit vague. Yeah, I've got it somewhere. So now let's look at Seller B. So Seller B is the trustworthy one. They post 20 plus photos showing every angle, close-ups of any damage, the engine bay, the interior details. The description reads like a full history of the car, why they're selling, and a recent maintenance report. And they even invite you to test drive it and have your own mechanic check it over. So let me ask you, who are you buying from? Seller B, obviously. Even if Seller A was $500 cheaper, you'd probably still go with Seller B because you trust Seller B. They've removed every possible reason to doubt them. Now, apply this to Ecom. Your online store is similar. People will buy from stores that they trust. Every premium brand uses a trust framework to remove the fear of the unknown from the buying process. First, start with a bold money-back guarantee. Don't hide it in the fine print. Place it right next to the Add to Cart button, and then layer in visual safety cues. Place security badges and recognize payment logos like Visa, PayPal, and ShopPay directly in your checkout flow. And you can also use social proof. Import real reviews that include photos and detailed feedback. A review that says the product was fantastic is worth more than 1,000 words of your own marketing copy because it comes from a real customer. Finally, build an FAQ page. Answer the tough questions before the customer even has to ask them. To see if your store passes the test, open it in incognito mode right now. Look at it through the eyes of a skeptical stranger and ask yourself, would I trust this site with my own credit card? Fix those trust signals today, and you won't just increase your conversion rate, you'll earn the right to charge premium prices for your products. All right, so we've covered a lot. Brand identity, consistency, customer journey, and trust signals. These are the 4 fundamentals that actually build successful stores. YouTube have this new crazy algorithm where they know exactly what video you want to watch next based on AI and all your viewing behaviors. And AI says this video is the best video for you. It's different for everyone right now. So check this video out, and I bet you're going to get a lot of value.